I know we have one. Perhaps we have more. I don't know if there's anybody else here from another assembly. It seems highly unlikely.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
But we do have another assembler from Detroit. As it turns out, Sunday Assembly is sort of a global-ish thing, and there's a lot of us around all over the country. This Leah happens to be a very good friend of mine. She's out here visiting, and I forced her to come. And now we're going to do the Sunday Assembly hug, which everyone is super uncomfortable with. Would you be willing to demo this with me?
No, but I will.
Okay. Here it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Sunday Assembly hug, for those of you, most of you probably know. Find somebody that you don't know, or like only vaguely know. Eye contact. Coming for the hug. 3 passes.
3 passes.
Is that it?
Simple.
Can I get another?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do this again. Here.
You gotta, wait. Time out.
You gotta do the.
You gotta connect first
connect
with
it.
why they need your hug. Look into their eyes. Connect.
I feel very intimidating.
Good job.
Yeah, thanks. Better. Okay, everybody up. Unless you don't want to.
I am tagging my niece, Angelica, for this time around, partially for public humiliation. But mostly because she is far braver than she thinks or knows, and I thought this would be an awesome opportunity for her to harness that bravery. Things about her. Number 1, she is a senior at Central, aspiring to go to ASU's spelling program. 2, she is a cat aficionado. You will be hard-pressed to find anyone who loves cats more than she does. And 3, I would say she's probably an ice cream connoisseur. Although she typically only chooses coffee ice cream, so I guess I should be specific in saying she's a coffee-flavored ice cream connoisseur. That all said, Angelica, come on up. Woo!
Sorry we don't have a yacht mic, so just talk loud.
Okay. Hi, I'm Angelica, but you can call me Jane, or Jelly, or Jellyfish, or Jellybeak, but that's not as accurate because I turned 18 yesterday. Since I am terrible at making decisions, like every teenager, you guys probably know, I decided to do this I know and doing my best. So, I know that I will never truly know anything for certain. Or maybe I don't know. Never mind. Anyways, I know in this life that as I perceive it to be, that I am horrified of death, not knowing anything for certain, and boys my age with 70s facial hair. Calm down, Burt Reynolds, it's 2015. I also know I have very unhealthy habits, financial habits. But you know what? I am best at doing those habits. And I know I am best at forgetting where I was going in terms of speeches. So on another note, a serious note, when I was younger, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. Every parent probably thinks, oh, they're going through teenage phase, blah, 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 blah. No, this is some serious stuff. Let's see. I went through a state that no parent would ever want their child to have, and I realize that now. I went through a state of self-harm and attempted suicide. I felt alone, afraid, confused, and just cold. I was an emotional chihuahua, pretending like I was fine when I wasn't. I've taken meds, I did group counseling, and one-on-one therapy. I was okay for a while, but it wasn't until recently that I realized that I really wasn't. I just became really good at acting, lying to others and myself about my happiness. And I questioned myself and my life, and I had come to the conclusion that no one, and I mean no one, is ever going to be happy 24/7. Life isn't going to constantly provide you with positive energy all of your life. Bad things will happen. You can complain about it and whine about it for a little while, it's normal. But there comes a point in life in which we create our own positive energy. So that's all. And I would drop the mic, but I don't have one, and that's kind of mean.
I only give a little bit of my weirdness out the first year. Second year, it's going to get crazy. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. Welcome to Sunday Assembly Phoenix. As Mandy hinted, I think probably around the same time I was reading an article online that mentioned Sunday Assembly. This is fall of 2013. I thought, what is that? So I clicked on it, started reading up on it, and lo and behold, there were two comedians in London doing something that I had thought about doing for a very long time, really since I was in college, and I'll kind of describe why that is in a little bit. And so I reached out to them, and I said, hey, what's this all about? What's going on? Is there anyone out in the Phoenix, Arizona area that's contacted you? Sure enough, there was actually a handful of people, and we met and talked, and they don't know this. I actually drugged them all and convinced them hypnotically to do this. So we launched it kind of just shotgun. I feel like it's kind of been a shotgun start all the time, and we were like always catching up. I mean, it's a lot to do something like this. But long story short, we are creating a church. Like that. Just a bunch of people who hate life. So the word church was kind of a point of contention amongst us for a while. Should we use that term, church? What is church? Should we just say we're an organization? And I've been in a lot of conversations with a lot of different people. On one side, you get some people who just have a general disdain for the word church because of what it represents. And then you get a lot of folks who go to church and they think, no, you shouldn't use that term because you're using it for other purposes, and church is one thing and not another thing. And so that's why I like using the word church. It's because it's controversial. It's because it's edgy. It's because it means a lot of things. It's because it's a loaded term. And so I'm going to stick with it. I think that this is a church. And I'm fine using that term. If you don't want to use it, okay, that's fine. But we're creating a different kind of church, right? And I would consider this the grassroots, right? This hasn't been around for very long at all. We've had 12 assemblies 1 year. If we were a traditional church, we'd meet once a week, so that would just be 3 months. But no, we don't really have the infrastructure in place to meet more than once a week. But we are creating a church for scientists. How many of you in here are a scientist? Everyone should raise their hand. Right? I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with the fact that the traditional church and religion has sort of been at odds with science, scientific research. It's a major point of debate. We here at Sunday Assembly, I can assure you, are pro-science. We like science. We're also creating a church for the undecided. Religion is all about decision, right? You got to make a decision for the Lord. If you're a Muslim, you say the Shahada, which is your proclamation that there is one God and Muhammad was his prophet. You make a decision. We're creating a community that's more oriented around. We like questions. We like doubt. We like skepticism. We want people to come and show up and dive into the material. And this might seem a bit crazy. I dare some of you to question your own atheism. Are you open to asking the hard questions? So we're creating a community for the undecided. I'm kind of undecided on a lot of things. We're creating a church for atheists. If you Google Sunday Assembly, you'll see a lot of the atheist church, articles and articles and videos, the atheist church, and that sort of thing. Here's the thing about atheism. There are a lot of different kinds of atheists. It's not just one thing. There's the gung-ho atheists, right? That want to vanquish all the superstition from planet Earth, and they're dedicated to doing that. Fantastic. Good luck. And then there's more of the casual atheists, right? The agnostics that I just don't really know and I don't really care. I'm not really interested in those kinds of questions. And so we're creating an environment that is at least open to that spectrum and an even wider spectrum. So I think at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're creating a church for the unchurched. How many of you in here are unchurchy? How many of you have actually been to like any kind of traditional religious thing in the last, say, year or two? The last couple years, or in recent memory, right? I don't know about you, sometimes I walk in and I just feel like everyone's smiling and like shaking my hand and patting me on the back, and I'm like, man, hugging. I'm still slightly hungover from Saturday. I feel unchurchy. I don't feel like I'm church material. And so hopefully we can create a group of people that we accept you just for who you are. And that's about it. The church, the traditional church, has had an issue with lifestyle, right? We're all very familiar with issues such as homosexuality in the church. That's kind of a big thing. We here at Sunday Assembly are pro-gay. I'm with gay. In fact, I wish we were a little bit more gay. I wish we were just a little bit more gay. I don't think we're gay enough. Put that out there. And so the traditional church is a problem for most of us, and we've the organizers, we sort of realize the fact that the vast majority of the folks that are showing up and are interested in this sort of thing have some kind of background and some kind of religion, and it just didn't work out for them, for whatever reason, personal, intellectual, whatever it might be, it didn't work out. So tonight, I just want to give you guys a little snapshot of what's going on inside of me as a person, why I'm doing this, the things that I'm facing and have faced, where I come from, what my background is, and why I'm even interested in this in the first place. So, I was raised pretty darn religious. My mother's back there. I was raised very religious, but not in a weird, backwoodsy sort of way. I actually had a great religious upbringing. And I have a tremendous amount of respect and appreciation for the way that I was raised. I know a lot of you in here were raised religiously. Some of you may have had positive experiences. Some of you may have had negative experiences. But for me, it was largely a great experience to be raised in a church community. My father was a Pentecostal minister, or not my father, my grandfather. My father was definitely not a Pentecostal. My grandfather was a Pentecostal preacher, that whole thing. A lot of my family is involved in the traditional church and leadership and that sort of thing. And so me starting this quasi-church has certainly brought about a lot of conversation. But we find ways to talk about it in a good, healthy sort of way. I was raised in the church. I read the Bible backwards and forwards. At times you would have seen me preaching the gospel to the unsaved when I was a youngster. I was raised to believe that God cared about me. There was this God cared about me personally. There was this person, Jesus, that did some great things, and my life should be an example. But that's kind of a small part of the story. I wasn't just raised religious, as if to suggest I was kind of a passive participant. I was very much active in the life of the church, so much so that I ended up going to school for it. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in theology. And that was going to be my life. I was going to be a teacher. I was going to be a writer. I was going to be involved in research and scholarship. I was very much ingrained in that community. Now, without going into all of the details, I changed. I evolved. I stopped thinking the thoughts that I thought when I was young, and I started seeing the world in a new way. I stopped talking about Jesus as some kind of magician and just started viewing him more as a political reformer, as a socialist, as a rebel. I discovered a deep interest in Buddha and Nietzsche. I read the works of William James, and I discovered that we're all inventors. We create, we make, we fashion the world the way that we would like it to be, and that's what religion ultimately is. And so the world began to expand for me. I started living kind of un-Christian-y, doing un-Christian-y sorts of things. I started to become really good friends with a lot of non-Christians, and I discovered you're actually a great person. Not only that, we have a lot in common. We share a lot of the same tastes. That was kind of a surprise to me when I was young. And so I've been slowly just evolving and changing. But here's the thing. Now, as a 31-year-old man, I've realized that much of what went into me when I was younger is still in me. It's just slightly changed. There's bits and pieces stuck inside of it from my past, and I don't know what to do with it. Take, for instance, the issue of prayer. Oh, man. He asked me if there's going to be a prayer time. I don't pray to God. I don't get on my hands and knees and opine some kind of supernatural being, hope that my life works out. But I do find that at times I wind up in a kind of prayerful mood. I would call it a prayerful mood. I mean, think for a second how you are on a Tuesday afternoon at 3 o'clock at work. Heads down, focused, oriented, you're narrow, you're doing your thing. But then think about how you are, say, at a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday morning, right? Around some friends, or maybe you're alone. I find that I might slip into more of a meditative mood. I might get more in touch with myself, with the deeper concerns. I might be a little bit more euphoric. A bit more relaxed, meditative. So I would call that a kind of prayerful mood. I recognize my own agency in life. I recognize that ultimately I'm in control. But I also recognize that there's a lot to life that I have nothing to do with, that will influence my life, that I have no control over. And so I hope that things go my way. I would call that a kind of prayerful mood. So I think that atheists can be perfect in a way. But what about this? What about lightning? What about Arizona lightning? I was raised in California, and I've been out here for 6 years, and every time we have a lightning storm, it's remarkable. And so I wondered to myself, am I at the position, the way that I view the world, am I free? Am I entitled to behold the splendor of lightning? Am I supposed to feel something about lightning? What is that? Right? After all, lightning is random. That's just random. Electricity in the sky. It has nothing to do with me. It doesn't care that I exist. It just happens. And so why is it that I suddenly pause and catch my breath when I look at lightning? It doesn't have anything to do with it. And so I sort of have to live in such a way to deal with that. I find at times it lifts my spirits to see lightning. And I want to just pretend like it's random occurrence, but when you're falling in love, lightning is not random. When you're falling in love, lightning is telling you something. I don't know what it's telling you guys, but it's telling me that the universe is watching. It knows what's up, and it's going to give me this little lightning storm just to say. And when the lightning storm happens, it's like, thank you, amazing. I'm in love. So, in a way, lightning kind of makes me feel as if the world is conspiring in my favor. Dare I use the word providential? There's been times where I'll see a lightning storm and thank you will come out of my mouth. Who am I thanking? No one. It just took 13.4 billion years for that to happen. You know, so I grew up with the idea that God loved me, that He was watching over me, that He cared about my life, and that sort of thing. I don't believe that anymore. But I've replaced it with something. I replaced it with the idea that life is special, that it's rare, that it's precious, that it didn't have to happen. Now, life sucks. Life blows, life is pain, life is suffering. And I have seen the worst end of it. But in spite of all of that, there's this thin line. Distant, somewhat vague, but there's this thin line. Wow, this didn't have to occur, but it did. The famous philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein said, it's not how things are in the world that is mystical, but that it exists in the first place. I like to think about it like this. History. Think about history for a second. Cosmic history. This is my idea of what history is. This is history. 13.4 billion years. You have electrons swirling around. Hydrogen happens. Hydrogen swirl around for an exceptional amount of time. The heavier elements set in. All of a sudden you have iron mixing with other heavier elements. You get hot lava. Planets are forming. Oceans. Then all of a sudden you have life. You have little amoeba spine. Right? And then you fast forward an exceptional amount of time. And monkeys are standing up, picking fruit off of trees. Then you fast forward even further, and you get to beer. Beer. And then you get to the internet. And then you get to Donald Trump running for president. That to me is an amazing concept. That we started from utter chaos. And it's still utter chaos. So I guess you could say that I'm open to the new, the uncharted. The possibility that we're at the beginning, not the end of our intellectual history. I'm excited for a time when the new iPhone 6S will seem laughably archaic. I'm excited for a time when you walk into a Walgreens on a Saturday afternoon to cure your cancer. Oh, there you go. Great day. Cured. Wouldn't that be amazing, right? You know, in spite of all of my hang-ups regarding humans and how terrible we can be, I think that we can get better. I hate convention. I hate falling into comfort zones. I hate doing what's expected of me. I'm open to a wider spectrum. I was having an important conversation with an important person several nights ago, and I told her that we're talking about what we wanted our lives to be like. And I said, basically, I want to flame out when I'm 90 years old. I just want to go out in a just from exhaustion, just expire. Done. That's the way that I want to live. I'd like to share with you guys one of my favorite quotes. It's from Henry David Thoreau. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and to see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. I did not wish to live what was not life. Living is so dear. Nor did I wish to practice resignation unless it was quite necessary. I wanted to live deep and suck out all of the marrow of life, to live so sturdily and Spartan-like as to put to rout all that was not life, to cut a broad swath and shave close, to drive life into a corner and reduce it to its lowest terms. One of the core precepts of the Sunday assembly is that we're all going to die. Crap. Live it up. Live well. Do this well. Me personally, I am fighting nihilism. I think there's probably a lot of folks in this room, after abandoning this nurturing, insulary sort of environment that you're raised in religious, and you branch out from that, nihilism starts to set in, right? The darkness, the void, the emptiness. And so I'm fighting that. From a calm, cool, collected, philosophical point of view, not a whole lot makes sense. We're all just sort of spiraling towards death. And it's completely plausible that in a couple hundred years from now, the human race will be completely wiped out. And this will all just be, it won't even be a memory because there won't be anything around to remember. It just sort of happened. And that can be kind of different. We had our go, we created civilization, and then we destroyed it. And now there's just cockroaches. So, I am fighting nihilism, and Sunday assembly is one way in which I am doing that. And I'm unsettled, I'm undecided, I'm working through some stuff. Because at the end of the day, I don't get so hung up on believing the right things, I just want to live the right way. And so if I'm completely honest with all of you, I will say that I am a little bit of an atheist. I'm also a little bit of a Christian. I'm a little bit of a Buddhist, a teensy bit of a Hindu. I'm fascinated by Islam. I'm a little bit progressive, and I'm a little bit old-fashioned. I'm a little bit in love, I'm a little bit confused. I think I'm a little bit awesome, and I'm a little bit insane. And weird. But ultimately, I chose the title of this talk on purpose, The Things I Miss About God, because I recognize that there are bits and pieces still in me. And I have a kind of nostalgia that's still stuck inside of me. I guess you could say I still have a romance about things. A general, sustained romance. And so I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? And I think that's kind of what Sunday Assembly is trying to accomplish, is recognizing that there are some great things about community. That in fact, humans knew what they're doing, and they've done some great things, and we want to inherit that and just change it. We want to get better. And so I miss God. I miss the elated feelings of cosmic significance underneath lightning storms. When I was younger, a lightning storm, an Arizona lightning storm, would have been, God, are you telling me something? Now it's just beauty. It's just awe. I miss the intense debates regarding the idea of free will. I'm sure many of you have had those. I miss the stale Sunday morning coffee and donuts while listening to someone talk to you about something you don't care about. Yes. Bless you. I miss the network, the quasi friendships. The people that are kind of your friends, are kind of not. I miss the gossip, the respectful kind. so-and-so did what. So Sunday assembly, you know, I'm convinced that if you took a bunch of children, Lord of the Flies status, you put them on an island, had them do their thing, there would be a conch and someone would die. But I'm also convinced that one of them would eventually section off a piece of the island for their own retreat. It would probably be scenic, it would probably be beautiful, it would probably be something special and sacred to that person. And then the other kids on the island would ask, what is that place? And that person would say, you know, that's where I go to find peace of mind. And I think that that's just sort of the basic religious impulse in all of us. And so I think that, you know, the Sunday assembly is a part of sort of a larger paradigm shift that's going on. The Western world is secularizing, right? We're changing, we're evolving. There's been a tremendous amount of upheaval from our past in recent years. But at the end of the day, people still want to gather together just for slightly different reasons. You know, we want sacred places, just not ones that make us look out there for answers, but look within ourselves for answers. We want a community and we want to be known, we just don't want to be judged because of stupid things. We want to give back to those that are in need without expecting that they convert to our ideology. We just want to help. And so some of the organizers in us, we've kind of created a funny term. I think it's kind of hilarious, but I think we're doing the Lord's work without the Lord. Okay, good way to put this. You know, we're after a better world. We just have a slightly different idea about what that is and how to get there. I think that we all need a place to feel encouraged and discouraged, a place to be sharpened, to enjoy the company of strangers. There's a lot of faces in this room, people I don't know. I think that's good. It's good to be around strangers and to meet new people. We need a place to hone our self-skills and to life hack. So we are trying to make a once-a-month event, and it would be great if all of you would put this on your once-a-month calendar. Because at the end of the day, what we need is just people showing up, being active, meeting new people, smiling, participating. That's all that this takes. Obviously, there's quite a few folks that wouldn't really jive with this sort of thing. That's fine. But we're looking for folks who will jive. This is year 1. I'm excited to see what year 10 will look like. It'd be great, you know, to continue growing this thing. We have that big theater, bring in great speakers, create a really dynamic environment. And so here's the action plan. Show up. That's about it. We are nearly one of, I think there's almost 80 worldwide. Yeah. All over the States, you can travel, Detroit. And we're all trying to do this thing, you know, and it's new, it's fresh, it's grassroots. We're not backed by billion-dollar venture capitalists. We're just trying to make something happen. And so, you know, at the end of the day, I guess that God bit is still inside of me because we as children of the earth, I'm looking forward to a time when I can call a lot of you brothers and sisters. Thank you.
Really hurt, but the joy of having this beautiful
It hurt.
son.
All right, two more things. October, we're going to have one of our very own, Larry Campbell. We're going to be doing kind of a discussion. He was a pastor for 15 years, and he's not anymore. So it's going to kind of be about, like, how do you make a new life after something like that? What do you do? That was something that Ryan Bell kind of addressed. You know, he left the church, and so it's going to be kind of a discussion, Q&A period. So we're looking forward to that. And yeah, and then the blood moon starts in like an hour. Yep, that's Yeah, exciting. I feel like something weird's going to happen. Well, all right, so Angel's Trumpet, for anyone that wants to join us, just on 2nd Street for beers and food, and hang out and talk, get to know everyone. And it was so great to have all of you, and hopefully we'll see you next month.